Hey, in addition to what appears to be significant misinformation going on today, there also appears to be another situation. I've attempted twice now to have a professional correspondence with a publication that, while Russian in origin, is not based, at least their server, is not based in Russia. My understanding is it is a legitimate publication, and their articles and their coverage appears to be uh, what would be considered, I think, to be of quality, to be recognized and acknowledged in a professional manner. And I have contacted them twice. Unfortunately, I believe that my communications with them have been intercepted. And not only have they been intercepted, but that somebody has attempted to capture it and claim it as something that should be theirs. It's been going on for a while. And so I'm letting you know, especially if you're a professional journalist, you might have an opposition perspective, and or you are not somebody that is willing to cede to the corporate media inculcation of press and press reporting and media coverage as part of existing financial schematologies that merely serve as a form of public notice on stock transfers or other kinds of large scale financial deals. Then you may have experienced it yourself, that your messages end up getting intercepted and or get interrupted, and that somebody else attempts to claim it as some sort of intellectual or human capital for themselves. You may see it that it comes up in people's electoral campaigns, including people that aren't even from the United States. And so, all I can do in a situation like this is try to recommend that you try to keep your bearings about you and keep track of it the best you can. My understanding is that certain people believe they're in public office and they've had access to certain kinds of governmental procedures and policies. They believe for whatever reason they're entitled to identify somebody as a threat or a security risk and appropriate their life and their property and then use it as their own. My understanding is, at least according to the information, in order to be something like Secret Service, there is a very sophisticated process regarding background checks and professional qualifications, as well as informed consent and non disclosed agreements that someone has to commit to before that's actually official. So if someone's trying to convince you on some sort of infrasonic current or some sort of attempt to gaslight you, it's somehow, well, you're Secret Service for that. So it's okay for them to take your life and it's okay to take these things and use it because you're their Secret Service. And that's what Secret Service does. That's actually not correct. There are specific professional qualifications that come with being in the Secret Service. And if those professional standards have not been met, then that actually presents a very significant security risk for whoever it would be if someone would be trying to associate with for the purposes of any alleged Secret Service. The same goes with intelligence. It was recently, just this week, presumably, Congress in the United States had a closed door meeting of the Intelligence Committee. Now, I had asked for a follow up to a closed door meeting regarding intelligence from the summer of 2000 that I believe was connected to the September 11th terrorist attacks in one manner or another. If nothing else, then what was not done as a result of that closed door meeting ended up allowing for the proliferations of the material conditions for the September 11th terrorist attacks. And this is something that's substantiated, including in criticisms by people that were acknowledged, affirmed, and substantiated as members of the actual intelligence community and what they were experiencing of things that just didn't make sense from an actual intelligence perspective, right? So if Congress is doing something similar now, while there is obviously a misrepresentation and a miscalibration and mischaracterization of what is available as public information, and certain people are having very important professional communications intentionally intercepted, including if it's part of an ongoing campaign that's lasted several years and attempting to misrepresent them, then these things are not unconnected. So if you're somebody that was either previously involved in journalism or the media or is currently involved in journalism and the media and is being attempted for extortion or pressuring into acceding and relinquishing your professional status in order to be intimidated into acquiescence to allowing somebody else to appropriate your life for their political misuse, then just let me tell you, I support you and I know what it's like. They'll do it. They'll do it for a long time. If you keep paying attention, you'll catch up to them. It's very interesting right now. In the United States, I went to the library yesterday. They have a section for magazines. You can't get the magazines anymore. You can't get the newspapers anymore. You can't get access to the microfiche. All of that's closed off. They say it's not safe. They'll literally take spray bottles with aerosol, liquid in it, and they'll spray the plastic cover of the book. You know what that does to the pages of a book? Now they talk about, oh, it's not safe because they have to sanitize or clean the books. And somehow having access to a magazine or a newspaper is considered to be a safety hazard. So you're not allowed to access them. You're not allowed to access books in certain levels. All the fiction's up front. They have the fiction right there. You can go walk through the stacks when it comes to fiction. But there's a very select grouping of nonfiction you're allowed to browse through. You're not allowed access to any of the historical record right now, whether that be the media record or whether that be academic records. Even libraries in Dallas, they used to be open to the public. Oh, well, because of COVID-19, we're not allowed to be open to the public anymore. I don't believe it. See, there were all these aspersions that were cast on psyops that were performed by countries of the former Soviet Union and things that happened under communism. This isn't even communism. This isn't even communism. This is something else. It's a form of social engineering, and I don't think they're qualified. And that's part of the problem we're having. They're not qualified to engage in the kind of operations they're trying to perform. So I just want to congratulate you on one level. You did do a good job of making me very flustered today. As a matter of fact, I'm at the point where the saturation of infiltration of the American government and the complete incompetence that's been demonstrated by people claiming to be representatives of the American government is so significant that I've lost all faith. Insofar as I, as a person and a member of the people of the United States, have a say, I vote no confidence in every single one of you. You do understand that this charlatanism that's ongoing right now in consideration of the murder of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and how that's connected to the speculation on who's going to replace her, including with a token woman that, by the way, at least the press is saying, is supposed to be announced on the anniversary of my mother's murder. Just so you know. That this demonstrates that the Obama administration was successful with the sabotage it committed on its way out of office. With the Global Health Security Initiative, his executive order on the Global Health Security Initiative. See, on one level, I've been watching ever since November of last year, while the Democrats in Congress have been playing this upsmanship with the president specifically, but also in co-conspiracy with certain very opportunistic individuals that declare themselves to be Republicans, where they're literally volleying policy connected to national security associated with alleged healthcare matters or health security, public health matters, with the political opportunism that they're trying to wield in connection with their own personal ambitions and their electoral campaigns. And all of the rest of us are nothing more than fodder in this volleying. They do not have anything close to a professional consideration of us insofar as we even qualify for consideration, insofar as that is required for the performance of their role as a professional. So we're in this situation where I've seen since last November, we're coming up on a year, that they have literally been using the rest of us as nothing more than a leveraging scheme in order to try to get one over on each other. And they don't even seem to have a clear and convincing reason for doing it, which is why they keep saying it's about intelligence, and they keep saying it's about counterintelligence, and they're not prosecuting who they need to. And these litigious efforts they engage with, whoever it is they end up engaging with it at that particular period of time, don't actually result in criminal convictions that dismantle the structure of the criminal enterprise. They don't do that. They haven't been doing that. And presumably, those were the kind of qualifications that got them elected. So now we're in this situation where We are coming up on what will be the fourth year in the fifth year of the Global Health Security Initiative. And in the Global Health Security Initiative, there's a very specific part when they're talking specifically about healthcare access, accessing services through the HHS and the kind of reporting structure. And they have this manner in which an individual is pitted against two other individuals. Now, that can mean a variety of things. One of the things I understand it to mean is that if you're getting healthcare services and they put you in a one on one, then it's actually saying something tactically. But what it also means is that you need two witnesses for treason. Why would they need a support with each other when they're positing you as the person who's supposed to be the recipient of services? Well, then the question becomes, what else is this going on? What's going on concurrently? And I believe that part of the outgoing Obama administration was to codify a policy whereby it intended to destabilize the federal government by attacking one of the three major branches of government. And so we have had last 3.5, 4 years of attempting to try to eliminate the president as he is. He needs to be impeached. He needs to be indicted. They don't actually give you what would be a just cause for indicting him, which exists. That's not the point. He needs to be impeached. He needs to be deposed. He needs to be undermined. He needs to be killed. Well, if you can't do that, and you're not willing to take on Congress and its corruption, that leaves the Supreme Court. And I really believe if you look at what has happened with the Supreme Court, especially in the last year, unfortunately, it would seem that the pressure that has been applied to that part of the tripartite government of the United States is so significant that I have no choice personally but to give a vote of no faith. I have no confidence in any three of the branches of government. I have no confidence in any of the three branches of government. And right now, I believe that what is happening with Congress and the Senate and the President around the Supreme Court is doing what it can to assure that it will be so destabilized that it will not be able to sustain itself. If it's not already bankrupted, then it will be by this time next year. I really think that's what they've set in motion, if they're allowed to continue on this without intervention. And so, what does that say for the rest of us that weren't allowed to have political representation and weren't allowed to be represented in or via or as a member of these governmental structures, who might have had some other kind of professional capacity that could have participated in the economy. It could have participated in education. It could have participated in some sort of community service or some sort of community security. Well, we're supposed to let it all be harvested so it can cover their losses. I, for one, don't agree. I tried to reach out to that publication in the last 2 days. I'll try again. It was very important that message get through. It was very important it be confirmed. It was also very important that whoever thought they were entitled to take it for themselves understand that was not a very good decision, and it reflects very significantly on what it is they thought their professional capabilities were.